It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the state of Florida, where wild boars are larger than dogs, run faster than you, and create more havoc than a storm. An individual farmer from the area made the decision to confront this vicious creature head-on without showing any sign of fear. Come with me as we explore the hidden content contained in this video. When discussions regarding hunting are brought up, Florida is not typically the first state that comes to mind. Texas and Alabama are typically considered to be the best options. On the other hand, Buck considers Florida to be a veritable paradise on account of its extensive wetlands, rich palm forests, and entrancing untamed vegetation. It is not for those who are easily frightened, but it is ideal for hunters who are looking for a high level of tension and drama. As Buck and his team moved through the Florida swamps in an open-door buggy that featured a robust steel chassis and large off-road tires, they experienced a sense of regal authority. The constant noise of motors and the buzzing of insects were like the typical soundtrack of wild hunting. The wind was blowing in my face, and you could hear the buzzing of insects. The group of dogs that were in front of us suddenly began to bark loudly. These were not amusing yelps, rather, they were the cry to combat. Buck put his foot on the pedal and swerved into a thicket of palm trees. He then noticed a large wild boar that was encircled by palm trees just a few dozen feet away. In addition to its hair standing on edge, it gazed at the dogs with a belligerent expression that indicated it had no intention of retreating from its position. Buck made no hesitating sound. His rifle was raised, and he took aim with it. The only sound that could be heard was that of a single gunshot cracking through the silence. As the boar jerked, its steps became shaky, and it eventually fell to the ground in the muck. Although the hunt had barely begun, the first trophy of the day had already been taken. They continued their journey deeper into the swamp, where the buggy was forced to slow down due to the presence of heavy underbrush and wild palms. All of their attention was focused on the enthusiastic hunting dogs that were leading the way as they moved into low gear. Unexpectedly, a herd of enormous wild boars emerged from the bushes in a scattered formation. There was no need for words because they all opened fire simultaneously. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the sound of gunshots. Due to the fact that they were taken aback, the wild boars dispersed in every direction, sprinting as if they had jet engines attached to their back pockets. Buck continued to move in a southerly direction, into a level region close to the grazing fields, which was a common gathering place for wild boars in quest of food. At that very instant, a refreshing wind passed through, which helped to alleviate the oppressive heat of the afternoon. A herd of wild boars was drinking at a small waterhole on the edge of the forest, which was located farward in the distance. As Buck and his buddies carefully exited the van, they followed the tree line until they reached a tiny clearing that was around 50 meters distant. They did not make any noise. As they started to aim at the bigger ones, the only sound that could be heard was the rustling of the leaves. The air was completely silent. After being hit by a single bullet, the lead boar was knocked down and eventually fell into the river. A superb shot, and yet another trophy for this hunt that was full of exciting moments. Do you continue to watch the video? In the event that you have any inquiries, please leave a comment with the number 1. Immediately following the collection of the wild boar that had been shot, they proceeded to continue driving in the buggy. I had already reached the late afternoon by that point. As he surveyed his surroundings, the path was completely obstructed by thick brush. At the same time as the dogs at the front of the buggy suddenly leaped and began barking frantically, the buggy continued to hum as it rolled over patches of mud that were as thick as glue traps. Once again, the person who caused the incident had shown themselves. However, Buck did not take advantage of the situation this time. It was decided by one of the guys in the group, who was renowned for their reckless, no fear of heaven, and no respect for hogs attitude, that they would not use a gun to kill the wild boar. On the contrary, he came up with a daring plan, which was to capture the boar using just his bare hands. During the struggle between man and beast, which lasted for a few frantic minutes, there was heavy panting and loud hits that even shook limbs loose from the trees. A spectacular payout was the result of today's hunt, which came to an end. Following a number of hours of stalking and ambushing, the truck bed was filled with a wild boar that weighed close to 100 kilograms. This was a reward that was well deserved. In exchange for the satisfaction of triumph, we sacrificed our sweat, our scratches, and our adrenaline. Despite the fact that it may be difficult to believe, there are as many as 500,000 wild boars that roam freely in Florida each year. Furthermore, they are responsible for up to $1.50 billion in damages to agricultural production across the United States. You should not believe that they are just naughty pigs like the ones that appear in cartoons. It is a fact that they consume crops and rip through everything that is in their way, including fields and woods, causing significant damage to the ecosystems that they encounter. In addition, the situation becomes considerably more perilous when wild boars begin attacking humans. The state government of Florida has been so overwhelmed that they have decided to allow hunting of wild boars throughout the entire year without requiring a license. However, they do insist that you do not accidentally shoot your neighbor when they are watering their yard. One of the most alarming aspects of wild boars is not just their size or their destructive habits, but the astonishing speed at which they reproduce. Unlike many other large animals, wild boars are capable of producing multiple litters in a single year. A single female may give birth 2 or even 3 times annually, and each litter can range from as few as 4 to as many as 12 piglets. Over just a couple of years, this cycle can transform one animal into an entire roaming herd, a kind of 4-legged army advancing steadily across farmlands and forests. To put this into perspective, consider the frustrations of urban life traffic jams caused by population surges, neighborhoods expanding faster than infrastructure can keep up. Now, imagine the same concept magnified in the wild. For farmers in regions like Florida, the rapid growth of wild boar populations can feel overwhelming. Fields that should promise harvest instead become battlegrounds. Corn farmers, in particular, are often forced into sleepless nights, knowing that out in the swamp their crops stand vulnerable, and no outcry of frustration will deter the advancing herds. Dealing with such animals is no small task. Catching a wild boar is sometimes compared to catching a chicken, but the comparison is misleadingly simple. The reality is that these chickens can weigh close to 100 kilograms, carry sharp tusks like natural blades, and possess enough strength to overturn fences or plow through barriers. Any attempt at capture or control demands not only toughness but also ingenuity, blending traditional methods with modern technology. This is where smart trapping comes into play. Farmers and seasoned hunters have increasingly turned to advanced methods, such as drop-door traps equipped with motion sensors or surveillance cameras. Unlike older traps, which relied mostly on luck and patience, these modern devices can detect the movement of boars with greater accuracy, allowing for entire groups to be caught at once. Such technology, when combined with age-old knowledge of tracking and positioning, has become one of the most reliable strategies in the ongoing struggle against the spread of wild boars. Though the animals are notoriously cunning, adept at avoiding danger, and quick to learn from failed attempts, these innovative techniques provide a fighting chance. Each successful capture or interception is more than a simple victory for farmers. It represents a step toward protecting livelihoods, preserving crops, and slowing the relentless march of a species that multiplies faster than most ecosystems can handle. In the event that the boars come in to eat, all you need to do is press a button on your phone, and the door will automatically close behind them, exactly like something out of a science fiction movie. The traps were carefully placed, and the ground was covered with scents that wild boars adore. All of these things were done with the intention of luring them in. As the scent spread, it attracted huge herds of wild boars, which gathered together to take pleasure in a free feast. These boars were entirely oblivious to the threat that was lurking in the vicinity, and they continued to consume their food without any concern. More and more of them arrived, and it appeared that they brought with them entire families, entire clans, and even their forefathers. After that, with a thunderous slam, each and every one of the wild boars was immediately placed under control. How did you feel about the video that was made today? To ensure that you are always up to speed with the most recent stuff, please leave a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe.